So this is my wife's Rocky Mountain Element 10. It's starting to show a little bit of wear, some scuffs and scratches. It's been ridden pretty hard. Started to look for another bike and my wife said, "Can we just paint this one?" Well, we can. One thing that makes it much easier is my son is in auto body, so we have access to lots of tools and a bigger facility. I did all the grunt work, using 600 to start with to knock out all the big, deep scratches and to get it down quick as possible. And the 1500 is just to smooth out those scratches that you put in it with the 600. So let's go. You will need to use automotive Bondo to fill any larger chips or dings, which you're seeing me knock off the excess here. Sand it smooth, smooth to touch. Same with all the stickers. You don't have to sand it down to the metal. You just want to sand it down to where it feels smooth to the touch and there's no ledge on the edge of that sticker. Continue the same process with all of the parts that you want painted. The quality of this finish is in the details. So if you don't do a good job in the prepping process, the paint job is going to reflect it. It's a lot of sanding, so don't forget to take breaks and wear your hands out. I use rubbing alcohol whenever I'm finished just to get all the excess paint residue and dust off, but also any grease that's left over. You can't paint a part if it has grease on it. My wife wanted to go with a Mini Cooper Ice Blue. It is a special edition color for the Cooper. It looks really nice. Now before we can do anything, before we can put the final clear coat on, we have to put the stickers on. So I ordered the Rocky Mountain stickers from Rocky Mountain's website, and the other stickers my wife wanted, whatever those are actually from a craft store. Now we get to my favorite part, putting the bike back together. I know, I'm kind of weird, but I enjoy this stuff. I did a review of that bike stand. There's a link above for that as well. Lithium grease. You can use axle grease, bearing grease, whatever you want, whatever your fancy is. I like the lithium because it seems to stay in place a lot longer. You just want to make sure you coat the bearing very well, all around the top. This thing's going to slide in a lot easier with the press if you put a little grease around that area. This press I made out of course, 3/4 inch hardwood. Just a big long through bolt. Tighten it up as it goes in evenly. You don't want to bend anything, especially your head tube. Don't get overexcited. Take your time in this step right here because if you mess up, your bike's toast. So even, steady pressure. Get it as flat as possible. That's the most important part. And seal all the way around evenly. You remove the blocks, the through bolt, and repeat the top. Making sure that you have plenty of grease. You can't get too much grease. Load it on there. You can always wipe it off. It's a good idea, especially if you've never done this or you've only done it a few times, to remember exactly which way all this stuff goes back together. Cell phones are awesome. Take pictures or video. As I prepare all of my parts, I use grease anytime there's going to be metal on metal touching. Put your stem on, stem cap. Just lightly tighten it so it stays in place while you put everything else on. You'll do another adjustment here in just a little bit. I came across these grips. They get great reviews. I've never used anything quite like them. They're more of a spongy type of feel, but they're dense and lock on front and back. So we're going to give them a shot. I'm just loosely tightening everything because you're going to have to adjust this cockpit once you get the bike down out of the stand and get it ready to ride. Make sure you get your logos actually facing upright. I had to give it a small tap here with a hammer because it had just a little bit too much paint overspray in that hole. But do not hit the frame. Tap, tap, tap. Make sure you go back at some point and check all of your torque with an actual torque wrench. Wow, it is really coming together. I would recommend that you put helicopter tape or some type of frame protection on your bike at this point. Before you put the wheel on, before you get any more stuff in the way, go ahead and do that now. Before you peel off the protective film, if you use another piece of cloth or like I use here, just a piece of paper towel, it helps it slide over it much easier so you're not getting blisters on your fingers. You can use the hair dryer to either help it bend and manipulate into places you need it to go, or to help the glue stick a little better. Well, the bike actually turned out better than I thought it would. The paint looks awesome. If it didn't have all the little flowery stuff on it, I would probably ride this bike quite a bit. But there you go. I didn't have to spend another $3,000. I just tore this bike down, a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of time, painted it, put it back together. It's like new. So don't be afraid to try something different. I did. Turned out nice. I've never painted a bike before in my life. But here you go. Get out there, be safe, have fun.